What was that?
A berserker. She can hear us. She can smell us.
The Berserkers are one of the most menacing creatures of the Locust Horde, known for their massive appearance with an average height of 10 feet tall and possess a thick impenetrable skin that renders them almost completely immune to conventional weapons. This forces human soldiers to become creative in order to kill the Berserker, for example, luring them outside in order to use the Hammer of Dawn to take it down for good. The Berserkers are also known for their extreme speed and aggression. However, their most well-known trait is their highly developed sense of hearing and smell due to their blindness. To get a little more background and history of the Berserker, let's take a look at how they were first created. The first Berserker was created by Dr. Niall Sampson during the Pendulum Wars, employed by a fringe syndicate of the Coalition of Order governments to continue his genetic research in curing rust lung. In a laboratory deep in the caverns of Mount Kedar, Sampson attempted to create a hybrid species with the Sires, which were human chimeras mutated by emulsion poisoning and genetic experimentation. These human subjects were the children of emulsion miners that were previously infected by rust lung. Sampson attempted creating these hybrid species by transforming the children with the DNA of the indigenous creatures of the Hollow. After many failed attempts, Sampson combined sire DNA with the embryonic stem cells of a girl named Mira, also later known as Queen Mira, who was born with a genetic immunity to emulsion and managed to create the first successful hybrid, a berserker named the Matriarch. Following the Matriarch's creation, she birthed the first drones of the Locust Horde. With the Matriarch, she established a hive mind that connected Mira and all of the Locusts telepathically, with Mira able to control them. Dr. Torres, a colleague of Dr. Sampson's, built a containment module to sedate the Matriarch and connect her to Mira with a computer-brain interface. By doing so, amplified Mira's telepathic abilities. If you would like to learn more about the creation of the Locust and Dr. Sampson's experiments, I have a video that covers it all, which I'll link on the screen and in the description below. During the Locust War, Berserkers were widely utilized by the Locust Horde and were used for hunting down their enemies and destroying fortifications. On Emergence Day, Uzul Ram used multiple Berserkers to aid the Bloody Vanguard during the attack in Jannermont and were used to hunt down any surviving humans who were hiding from them. In 9 AE, during the Evacuation of Ilima, civilians were taken to Lima High School when the Locusts invaded the city with a Krill storm. Locust forces, including a Berserker, killed the civilians taking shelter in the school. The Berserker was later killed by Zeta 6, who weakened its armor with scorchers and exploding cars, rendering it vulnerable to gunfire. In 14 AE, several Berserkers were used to kill Delta 1 during the Lightmass offensive to prevent the detonation of the Lightmass bomb. The first Berserker attacked Delta in the Tomb of the Unknowns during the Locust ambush, and the second attacked Delta in the RL Sterling Conservatory during their mission to East Barricade Academy, and the third Berserker attacked Delta in Timgat Valley on the Tyro Pillar Train. Moving on to the Lambent Berserkers. Following the sinking of Jacinto City, the surrounding seawater caused emulsion to pollute the surface and caused the Lambent pandemic. This caused multiple Berserkers to become infected, turning them into Lambent Berserkers, which were also referred to as Lambent Zerkers. The Lambent Berserkers were larger and even more deadlier than the original. They were also capable of jumping high in the air to launch a powerful ground blow, which their Locust counterparts were never capable of. They also have 4 blade-like tentacles flailing around their backs. Like original Berserkers, the Lambent Berserkers had excellent smell and hearing, though their eyesight was just as bad. One very big difference between the Lambent and the original Berserkers is that the Lambent Berserkers have a very strong hide which protected them from stronger weapons. For example, when a Lambent Berserker is hit with a Hammer of Dawn strike, it would barely be affected and act as if nothing hit them, whereas a normal Berserker would be scorched and disoriented. The only way to kill a Lambent Berserker was to attack and expose its chest cavity, which was protected by its ribcage. The most common way to expose the cavity is to wait for the Berserker to prompt for an attack. While in combat with the Lambent Berserker, it would begin to leave trails of emulsion vapors wherever it moved, which makes it difficult for gears to locate the beast. When a Lambent Berserker is killed, it would begin to self-destruct and violently explode. The Lambent Berserkers, along with all the other Locusts infected with emulsion, would meet their fate in 17 AE when the emulsion countermeasure weapon was detonated by Professor Adam Phoenix. Although the emulsion countermeasure weapon wiped out the Locusts infected with lambency, some Locusts survived by forming a chrysalis shell. This mechanism was designed by Dr. Sampson to allow the Locusts the ability to adapt and survive generational conflict. As they hibernated, Mira's consciousness survived by retreating into the mind of the Matriarch. In 42 AE, the Locusts re-emerged as evolved life forms called Scions. From their hatching, the Locust hive mind materialized into a bioorganism capable of transforming all life into a part of the network called the Swarm. Through the Matriarch, Mira guided the Swarm to rebuild. She sought out her daughter Reyna, who also inherited her connection to the hive mind, and had the Swarm connect Reyna to the hive so that she could transfer her consciousness into a physical vessel and lead the Swarm. Kate Diaz, the daughter of Reyna and granddaughter of Queen Mira, sought to find answers about her family's connections with the Locust Horde, as she also was connected to the hive mind herself. Diaz and Corporal Delmont Walker entered the lab beneath Mount Kadar. There, Niall Sampson's AI explained the Locust origins, Mira's rebellion, and how Kate developed the same telepathic ability as her grandmother. In order to sever the telepathic connection, Sampson directed Kate to use the interface with the Matriarch, which was connected to the Swarm hive mind. Inside the hive mind, Kate encountered the Matriarch and was brought to Reyna's body in a hive. Kate inadvertently awakened her mother, and Mira's consciousness was transferred from the Matriarch to Reyna by Kate, becoming the Swarm Queen. Sampson's AI betrayed Diaz and Walker, turning the lab's defenses against them and freeing the Matriarch in the process. The Matriarch rampaged through the facility and destroyed Dr. Sampson's AI, which deactivated him. Diaz and Walker attacked the Matriarch and discovered that by dropping her into freezing water would subdue the Matriarch long enough to mount short attacks only on her weak spot. Diaz was able to attack the Matriarch's weak point and finally killed her. While Diaz still had a physical connection with the hive mind in her temporal lobe, her telepathic link to the Swarm was severed as the Matriarch died, making Diaz no longer vulnerable to them and Reyna.